For thousands of years, many philosophers thought that what made humans unique was that we were rational animals. We were animals, yes, but animals with this unique power to think that set us apart from all the other animals. Well, last week we saw that our thinking abilities or rationality might not be all that different from other animals. To the extent that we are any smarter, it's really just a degree of a difference of degree rather than kind. We've just got a little extra RAM, but there's nothing much different in how our mental computers are designed. Well, this week I want to throw some cold water on this notion that we are all that smart at all to begin with. If you think about rationality as the ability to think through things and arrive at the truth, well, it turns out humans aren't really all that good at that. In fact, what a lot of psychologists, in particular Hugo Mercier and Dan Sperber, in the book we're reading this week, have found out is that humans are systematically pretty biased to go away from the truth in certain contexts. So Mercier and Sperber argue that our ability to think, or rationality, didn't really evolve in a way that helps to get us towards the truth. If you thought that's what makes humans extra unique and cool, well, it probably doesn't. Instead, they argue that our rationality evolved in such a way so that we could win arguments with other people, so that we can be part of a winning team and show that we're right and other people are wrong. So one of the main ways that this manifests is that we have what's often called a confirmation bias or a Myside bias. So when we have an idea, we usually look to find evidence to think that we're correct, and we just ignore evidence that shows that we're wrong. And so then we end up confirming our own beliefs, even when there might be some evidence showing that we're not actually right. Now, as you might imagine, this can sometimes lead you way away from the truth. If you end up initially thinking something that's false, well, you can just go and find a bunch of evidence that seems to confirm that it's true, but never consider the evidence that shows you're barking up the wrong tree. One of my favorite examples of this is something that happened with me and my mom a couple months ago. She was saying, "Oh, remember when you graduated from high school? I used this new thing at the time. It was called Facebook to secretly message all your friends so we could throw you a surprise party." I said to her, "Mom, when I graduated from high school, Facebook didn't exist." She said, "No, Andrew, it existed. I used Facebook to get your friends together." I said, "No, really, Facebook did not exist." So we had this disagreement going. We needed to find out who was correct. And so the way my mom went about trying to figure out who's correct, she goes on Google and she types in Facebook 2001, which is when I graduated from high school. Now, the internet being the internet, and all the millions of stuff that's out there, when you type in Facebook 2001, right up there in the search results are a bunch of articles with other people claiming that they used Facebook in 2001. So she had just gone on this search that tried to confirm her belief. But when you actually look up, I don't know, the Wikipedia page or ask the question, well, when was Facebook started? You get an answer, I think it's something like 2004. So I was actually right. But notice the difference there. It's the difference between asking an open-ended question, like, when was Facebook founded, versus asking a question or putting a prompt to Google that's just going to bias it toward confirming what you already think is true. Just typing in the search bar Facebook 2001, you're already assuming you're going to be trying to find some results that show that Facebook was up and running in 2001. And so what Mercier and Sperber do in the reading I have for you this week is they give you a bunch of very cool experiments that show just how susceptible you and I and all humans are to this sort of confirmation or Myside bias. And what's very cool is that this bias, it occurs to really highly trained mathematicians and logicians. It trips them up. It trips up people like me who know that this is a thing and can be on the lookout for falling prey to it, and yet it still suckers us in. And so we can use this insight then to explain a lot of the stuff that's been happening in our world recently. If you've encountered people engaging in conspiratorial thinking on Facebook or falling prey to misinformation online, you can explain a lot of that in terms of this Myside bias. If you get an idea in your head, just the idea that the COVID vaccine has got 5G particles in it, or something that Bill Gates is going to use to track our movement, well, once that idea is in your head, maybe your friends and family are talking about it, well, you'll go and do your own research and find a bunch of other people who are also saying that's true. And so you just confirm in yourself this belief that it is true without going out and looking to see whether there's any reasons to think that it's actually not true. And then it turns out if people come at you and say, no, look, you shouldn't believe that, here's some reasons to think that it's not true, because we want our side to win, we'll ignore the evidence that other people give us and just throw back at them, well, look, here's all these other sites that say that it is true. Here's some other evidence to think that I'm right. And this is exactly the sort of thing that Mercier and Sperber say human reasoning is just designed to do. We're not so much interested in figuring out the truth, we're more interested in winning the argument, especially when we're in one group and we perceive that there's some other group that's trying to win a contest with us. We're going to look for all the evidence we can to show that we're right and they're wrong.